guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa and it's officially time for my room tour. I am just so excited for this and I know you guys are too. I have probably 200 plants in my collection, give or take, and I'm really excited to show them all off. And I'm also going to be showing you some of the accessories and stuff I used as far as plant shelves, lights, all kinds of things. So if you are interested in anything that I'm showing, I will have as many links as I can possibly find down in the description. So in the video, if you click that description box, all my links will be listed down below. Majority of my plants are in my plant room here, but I am going to take you through a few areas of my home that have some houseplants, and I can't wait to show you guys. I also just wanted to say that my plant room is going to be changing after this video. I just have so much plant care and repotting to do, and my little moss pole corner behind me is crammed pack and I need more space in this room. So I am going to be, I think, rearranging and changing things up. So I'll have to do another tour at the end of summer maybe, just to see like all the changes that have happened. But I'm really excited for it and I'm really happy with what I've done so far with the space. And yeah, it's always going to be changing as my plants grow and as I figure out a new and better way of doing things. So I'm excited to show you the setup now and how it looks. So let's get started. I'm going to start in this corner here. This is my workstation. This is where I come to edit and just sit and stare at my plants, of course. I have this cute desk in here with this pink chair. I love this chair. The chair I did get locally, but I can try and find it online. If I can't find it, then I will link a similar one down below. I did get it at a Office Max here locally. The desk is actually from Target, and I do have a link for that if you are interested. It has two pull-out drawers, and I just think it's a beautiful looking desk. Up top, we have a couple pieces of artwork and a clock, and these Monstera string lights. The artwork I actually got at TJ Maxx, and the clock I got off Amazon, and I do have a link for that. And the Monstera string lights are actually from Target, and they do cut on. I don't have them on right now, but they are just like, I don't know, it just adds a nice touch in here. I love Monstera, of course. And the lighting fixtures in here are both from Target. I obviously have a thing with Target, so I can try and find a similar lamp or maybe the same one. It's been a while since I bought that. That lamp is kind of old. I think this is just taking up plant space and it's kind of crammed in here already, so I might be moving this out and making a different plant section in here. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. Next up is this wall shelf. This shelf I actually got from, it was either a Lowe's or a Home Depot. It's just a piece of wood board and these little L-shaped brackets. You can actually get and choose different ones, but they just screw on to the board and the wall. And as long as you put it into a stud, it's pretty secure and stable, and it makes for a beautiful shelf, and there's different sizes. So I love this idea, and it's pretty cost effective too. It doesn't cost that much for one of those boards and those brackets, so I think it's a good idea, and it adds like a beautiful statement piece, I think, to your wall. So I really enjoy it. I actually want to maybe get more. We'll see. I haven't decided. This plant here is my Cebu Blue. This one I've actually had for a while, and I have propagated a ton off of this guy to, one, fill him out, and it grew some runners that I chopped off, and I actually took some cuttings to put on a moss pole. I love Cebu Blue, and I'll show you my plant on the pole that I have of this one too. Next beside him, this is my Philodendron Brazil. And I've had this plant for a really long time, and when I moved, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with this guy, so I did a poll on my Instagram, and I like the idea that someone suggested, why don't you make half of it climb the walls and half of it trail? So I have all the long vines kind of climbing against the walls, as you can see, and then I left a few of the vines trailing. So I really like it. I've always wanted a plant to climb the walls, and I think this is perfect. I started to attach them on with little plant clips, but some of the vines, as you can see, are actually attaching themselves to the wall. Do you see all those aerial roots that have attached? So that's so cool that it's actually climbing on its own. So I'm excited to see what this plant does eventually, and I think I'm going to trail it, you know, all along the walls. I think it'll be pretty cool to see it once it grows a bit more. I think it finally situated after the move, And most of my plants have pretty much calmed down and settled down since moving. It took them about 4 to 6 weeks to stop yellowing and kind of acclimating to my space. This one here is my big, beautiful neon pothos. Believe it or not, I propagated this plant all from cuttings off another neon pothos plant I had. I actually ended up killing that one because I underwatered it and I ended up just chopping it all back. I technically didn't kill it because it was still alive. I just chopped it all back to propagate it. And I have a big, beautiful neon pothos plant that is trailing. I have taken many cuttings off of this to add back into the pot, so I'm going to continue doing that because I would like the top part to fill out a bit more. So once these grow a bit more, I'm going to end up propagating some more. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this white shelf here on my wall. This is actually from Ikea, and believe it or not, this is actually maybe 6 or 7 years old. I had this at the old house, and they actually still do have it in stock on Ikea's website, and I can link it for you, but it's called a lac shelf. And I think it's cute. It attaches, you know, to the wall up top, and it has several different layers that you can either put plants or decor pieces. I really like it, and I like the white simple look of it. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it adds a cool little touch. Up top, without blinding you with this grow light, this lamp is a recent purchase. It is from Target. I think I can find the exact one and link it below. I bought it in store, and inside of that is a grow light bulb. I have some propagations on that second shelf, and that little cat propagation thing I got a really long time ago. It was from Amazon, and I lost the original vase that hooked on because I broke it. And the pink vases are from Target in the dollar section. I got those, I think maybe earlier this year. And all of this stuff is from Target here. I have some string of hearts propagating. That was from the dollar section. And I have a Monstera leaf frame that I got from Target. That's the original picture. I saw that frame and I saw it was a Monstera leaf. I'm like, oh, it's mine, I have to have it. And that little vase is just like a decor piece, and that was from Target as well. This next plant is a Scindapsus Trubii Moonlight. I love this plant so much, you guys. The color and everything is just beautiful. I already cut a runner off, but it's already given me another long runner, which tells me that this plant would probably appreciate something to climb. So I think I'm eventually going to trail him up. I just haven't done that yet, so we'll see. I don't really know the plan. These guys are pretty slow growers, but I do have some new leaves, which is really exciting. So most of my Scindapsus are pretty slow growers. This next plant is an Epipremnum Marble Queen. I have several in my collection. This is actually from 2 small plants, and it has grown so much, and I have propagated this plant so much. I love the coloring on this one. It's a beautiful plant for very inexpensive variegation. If you really want a variegated plant that's easygoing and cost effective, definitely get a Marble Queen or a Snow Queen because they're beautiful and they grow so well. This shelf is a Pink Lady Peperomia. I actually just moved it from my window because it was getting bleached a little bit. Peperomias and I don't really get along, so it's unfortunate because I do love them, but any of my peperomias in my collection just, I don't know, they just don't seem to thrive. So I don't think I'll get any more peperomias. And this cute little piece here is from Urban Outfitters. I don't think they sell it anymore. This one is my only air plant left. I think it's a Philodendron, I'm not quite sure, but I'll put the name on the screen. And those 2 pieces I got locally. And I don't really have anything on the bottom shelf. I try and keep all my bottom shelves clear because of the cats. I don't really want them into stuff. Although they're pretty good, I just, you know, would rather keep my bottom shelves mostly free unless they're pet friendly. Next up, we are going to do all these plants in this corner. I love this corner. I actually have tons of plant stands stuffed in this corner. Most of my plant stands, I will say, are from TJ Maxx, so I got those locally. These 2 baskets in front are from Target, and those 2, along with these ones, were TJ Maxx finds. So I don't have links to any of the baskets, unfortunately, because I got these 2 a long time ago. I'm gonna start off with my big, beautiful Monstera deliciosa. This was a save from a big box store, and it just pushed out this new leaf not too long ago, and I'm obsessed with it. I love Monstera deliciosa, and I'm really excited to have a more mature one. And the stake is from Lowe's big box store. Next to that is my beautiful Ficus Taneki. It's my only ficus in my collection because They don't get along with me. They always come down with spider mites. I'm still trying to decide if I want to put it outside on my porch this year. I haven't quite decided. I'm worried it's gonna get spider mites again, but it is growing in here and it does appreciate some of this light it gets from the south window and the grow light up ahead. So I haven't decided. I like the contrast it gives in this corner, so we'll see. Below the ficus is my Tenanthe lubricana, I think that's how it's pronounced. And this one actually is one of the easier plants in the Marantacea family. If you want to try one that's not a Calathea or a Maranta, I would recommend a Tenanthe because they are a lot easier. Next up is my big beautiful Calathea orbifolia. I love this plant, you guys. You may notice I have a lot of Calatheas. I just love them and adore them, and I'm really glad that they do well for me. I just adore this plant so much. It did put out, let's see, this new leaf here recently is a new leaf. So I love the new leaves. They come in lighter and they fade over time, but I just love the coloring on this one. This is my Philodendron squamiferum. It just gave me this new leaf. Look how beautiful it is. And these guys do have the fuzzy petioles. They're so cool. I love this plant. I need to repot him and get him staked so I can provide some support so I don't lose the large leaves. It has grown quite a bit and I have cut him back and propagated before, but I do think this plant is pretty easy care. Next to him is my Philodendron bilietiae. This plant recently came down with spider mites, so I kind of have him separated from the rest of my collection. They are gone, but I just left him here. And I do really love this plant. It is a really easy care philodendron. I love the leaf shape. It took a bit of a hit after I moved. I think it went into some shock. It hasn't given me a new leaf in about 8 weeks, 9 weeks. So it looks like that one might be opening or getting ready to push out a leaf soon, which is exciting. Each leaf keeps getting bigger. This is the biggest one it gave me. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this plant grow. I wish I could own a variegated version one day. So next we are going to go over my hanging plants. And the rods that they're hanging on are actually curtain rods. They're from Target. I got them in store. I can try and find a link to them and link them down below for you. They're in the curtain rod section. And the actual hooks that I have hanging the plants, the round ones are shower curtain hooks, and the S hooks I got locally from my big box store. And I recommend the S hooks because the oval shower curtain hooks can come open, and if the plant is too heavy, it will fall. So I have done that before. Most of my planters and baskets are from Target online or locally or TJ Maxx. So I probably don't have links for a lot of those. This one here is my Philodendron heteroecium, the lemon lime version. I love this plant. It started so small, you guys, and it is growing quite a bit since it is under this grow light. And it does appreciate more light because it was living in kind of medium-ish light before and it didn't grow as well, but since being here and being under more light, it is growing faster. This one here is my Philodendron silver stripe. I did recently chop this plant back because I took cuttings. I'm going to actually do this one on a moss pole because I love the creamy shaped leaves. The leaves do get small as they grow, so I think it would appreciate some support to climb. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the remainder of this plant. I'm not sure. This one is a recent purchase. This is a Hoya bilobata I got at a big box store. It's grown quite a bit. You can see all the new growth from being under this light. I love Hoyas and I just think this was a great find to add to my collection. I actually have one that's similar to this one that I'll show you, but that one has bloomed for me constantly. This one here is my Scindapsus silvery Ann. It doesn't have much silvery ends on this plant. It's kind of, again, lived in medium light. So I'm hoping the newer growth does come out more variegated, but it is a silvery Ann because it was labeled at the nursery. I wished it was a little bit more variegated. This is another Scindapsus. This is actually a silver splash. You can see the different leaf design. It's another slow grower, but I do love this Scindapsus. It is beautiful. I just love the leaves, and it does appreciate being in this spot. Sorry if this footage is a little backlit, you guys, since I'm on the opposite side of the window here. But this is my Hoya Burton A, and this one has bloomed constantly. It does have more peduncles there, you can see. So this one has been blooming for me for over a year now, which is really exciting. It just has always been so happy, and this was actually a Lowe's find as well a long time ago. This plant here is my variegated string of pearls, and I actually did recently chop this plant and I have cuttings propagating, and I'm going to be repotting this plant and adding him in to try and fill out the pot. And I do have the regular green version here, and this is a plant I recently repotted on my channel. Sorry, that is so bright. So yeah, this one is growing a ton, and I did take some cuttings off this one as well. But I did repot this one in that YouTube video if you are interested in seeing that, or if you struggle with string of pearls, I go over my care tips in that video. I love them. They do appreciate a lot of light, and I do think they tend to get overwatered easily, especially if they're not getting enough light. But it's been really happy since I repotted it, which makes me really happy. This next Hoya is my Hoya compacta, my Hindu rope. This was actually another recent big box store find, and it's really exciting because I have not had a regular green Hindu rope before. So I'm really excited to watch this one grow. I am just so lucky to have found that one. Next to him is my string of turtles. I have propagated this guy so many times and he is growing really well now. I'm going to be repotting him into one of these shallow pots as well, which I'm really excited to do. So yeah, this one started really small, and it's one of my proudest moments as a plant parent is starting plants small and watching them grow and thrive. This one is my variegated string of hearts. I recently cut and propagated this guy as well, and I took a lot of cuttings to add back into the top to fill him out. I love propagating these guys. I think they're really easy to propagate, and if you struggle with them, I have made some content on my Instagram. This Hoya is a Hoya retusa. It is a slow growing Hoya. I don't have it repotted or anything in this pot. I just have him sitting in here. But since being in front of this window, I do have a lot of new growth, which is really exciting. I just think this Hoya looks so cool. And if you are interested, I have a lot of Hoyas here, and I did recently do a Hoya collection video on my channel. I can link that one if you're interested in a more in-depth tour of my Hoyas. That is my Hoya polyneura. I am going to be propagating this guy once he grows a bit more. And next to him is my Hoya linearis, and again, I'm going to be propagating this one once it grows a bit more because I really want long, full, bushy plants of this one, and I'm really excited to fill them out. These two pots here are actually my string of hearts. This one here I have trailing because it is getting so long, so I have attached him to the wall with these plant hooks. And this one started so small, you guys. I have propagated this guy so much, and I actually made another full pot because I had so many propagations left. So they are very, very fast growers, really easy to propagate, and I just love string of hearts. I think they look beautiful. This plant here is another recent find on a shopping trip. This is another Hoya. It's a Lacunosa snowcaps. It's not very variegated, so I might move it a little bit closer to the window. I haven't really done much with it since I bought it, so it's hanging out. It seems to be happy. I don't really know my plan yet with that one. We'll see. It's just kind of hanging there for now. And this plant here is my beautiful Scindapsus pictus exotica. I absolutely love the large leaves on this plant. This is such a beautiful Scindapsus. Again, it is a very slow grower. I have cut many runners off of this plant. I really would love to see this guy climb, but since they are such slow growers for me, I just feel like it wouldn't be worth my time, but they are beautiful. I love the big leaves. Next, we are going to run through this plant shelf. This plant shelf is actually from Overstock, and I can link the exact one that I got down below. It's the perfect size for this window and length. I just think it fits the space so well. And underneath the shelving unit, I actually have some Barrina grow lights that you can see. They are strip lights and they attach to one another. So I have 2 sets on top, and then I have another 2 sets on bottom there. So I like them. I think my Marantas and Calatheas are tolerating the light so far. They're about half a foot or so away, so we'll see. I have to play around with this arrangement. I'm not really loving this setup. I feel like I'm wasting space, so I'm probably going to be redoing this thing here eventually. I'm going to start on top with all of my beautiful variegated monsteras. These are my favorite plants in my collection, you guys. My Monstera aria is, one of my most loved plants. And this particular Monstera albo here is my absolute favorite and pride and joy. And I cannot believe the growth I'm getting on my Monstera albos, you guys. I had all these plants last year and they really didn't start growing until like, I don't know, like 3-4 weeks ago, and I'm getting so much new growth. They are just so happy and it makes me so happy. I normally have these all facing the window, but I turned them around for this video, so I'm going to flip them back the other way so I can see their back sides once the video is over with. This one is my Monstera Thai Constellation. It has 4 leaves. This is the newest one. And I did grow this plant from a node, you guys. Very happy with the progress so far. This new leaf is just gorgeous. I have 3 Monstera albos actually here. This one has these 2 leaves. This is the first new leaf it gave me. Look how fenestrated it is. I just thought that was so crazy that this plant spit that out. And this is the second leaf it gave me. This is another Monstera albo. It does have a new growth on the way, and it does have another leaf here. And again, my pride and joy. I love this Monstera so much. And it's given me a 3rd leaf, which is really exciting. This guy was propagated from a single leaf, and I'm going to show you that at some point in the video. The original leaf I decided to frame, so I'll show you that. And my beautiful Monstera Aria, this was a 2-leaf propagation, these 2 leaves. This was the first leaf it gave me, and this is the newest leaf I just got. It just unfurled. Look at that size difference though between that one and the newest one, which is absolutely crazy. I'm so happy to see it getting bigger. Behind my Monsteras, I have a few various succulents. I have a variegated bear paw, some lithops, a cacti, a haworthia, and a panda plant. And I do have some other cacti and stuff outside I will show you, but those are just the little bit of selection I have inside. I have some propagations there. This is actually my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. I have not taken this guy out of the bag yet, you guys. This was an old moss pole I had, and he's just living his best life in this bag. I just have to make a new pole for him, and I haven't done that yet, but he is happy growing. He has been in this bag for probably 9 weeks, if not more. I know that's bad, but I will get to him eventually. Next, I'm going to run through all my larger Hoyas here. And again, I'm going to do this very quickly because I did just recently do a Hoya collection. This is a Hoya pubicalyx, and I don't know the exact type. It may be a purple Hawaiian, but I'm not sure until it really blooms. I actually have 3 pubicalyxes. This is the other one. This one is a pink splash, and it's on a really tall trellis that I need to secure a little bit better. We just missed a beautiful bloom on this one. It just bloomed and the flowers died yesterday, so I will put a picture on the screen of what the blooms look like. They are beautiful, but they will rebloom in the same spot. This one has actually bloomed twice. I don't know if you can see the 2 different spots where it bloomed. So don't cut your peduncles off because they will rebloom. This one is a Hoya Shepherdii, lots of new growth. I have several peduncles on this one as well. I have 2 Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queens. This one is, someone told me this one might be something else because I didn't think it was a queen just because of the leaf shape. It's a lot different than this queen, but I forget what they told me. And this is a Hoya Australis. This is the regular green kind. The newest leaves are so big on this plant. I have a lot of these guys wrapped around trellises because they were just growing wild. Back here is another Hoya pubicalyx. This is a splash because the leaves are very splashy. And I have that one on a very tall trellis as well. This is my newest favorite Hoya because I've had this Hoya for a long time, but it has peduncles, you guys. Look, it's going to bloom for me. And it has another peduncle that I spotted up there as well. This Hoya I've had for a while, but it has not bloomed yet. So I'm really excited to see those. This Hoya I've had for probably not quite 2 years. So super excited. I'm going to be watching that constantly. This plant in this bag is a most recent purchase. I unboxed this on my channel in a Botanica's unboxing. It had leaf melting and lost it. Actually, I purchased it with 6 leaves and it is down to 1, and that one is clearly yellowing. But I managed to rehab it and it is growing some new growth there on the bottom, which is really exciting. So as long as I have new growth, I'm happy. I'm probably going to lose this leaf eventually, but yeah, I'm just glad it stopped dying. This one is my Pilea peperomioides, and it has lots of babies. This one has been unhappy in my care for a really long time, but I moved it to brighter light, and I keep it more hydrated, more watered, and it does seem to be happier. It took a little bit of a hit after I moved and it yellowed a lot of leaves. So hopefully it kind of settled down. I think it seems to be happier. And I'm just going to briefly show you these snake plants. This is a Whitney snake plant. This one is a variegated whale fin. I love the leaf on that, if you can see. Sorry, this light is kind of so bright by this window. And that is my regular whale fin. So I do need to repot these guys, especially that one. And I don't know, I don't like them here next to this window, so I'm probably going to be, you know, rearranging this whole setup at some point. So I will run through these two shelves here. These are most of my Marantas and my Calatheas. I do have some random propagations in that one here. And this was a little experiment I was doing, testing out some different fertilizer. This one is my Alocasia Frydek. It is working on a new leaf, which I didn't realize was hitting the ceiling, so I just moved him. I'm probably gonna have to move him to this top shelf. It usually keeps 4 leaves on at a time, but this one does seem to be yellowing. Alocasias are notorious for killing off their oldest leaf. And I did actually recently repot him and I found a couple corms, so once they grow, I will be adding those back into the pot, but I love this Alocasia. This is my Calathea medallion. I love this plant so much. This one has been pretty happy in my care and it makes me excited because I just think the leaves are just so beautiful. This one is my variegated Maranta Cruciovana. This is the variegated one. It's also known as the rabbit tracks Maranta. I have propagated this guy a ton and added back in. I was getting a lot of small growth, so I cut those back. I do need to cut that one back. They are growing bigger since I did cut this plant, so that makes me really excited. This one is my silver band Maranta. It's not very full, and I need to eventually cut and propagate once it grows a bit more because I do want to fill this plant out. I got this as a small plant online, and I love the silver band. The leaves are just so beautiful on this one. This one is my Stramanthe Trio Star, and you guys, the backside of these leaves, can you see how pink it is? This plant is stunning. I think the color is just beautiful. The undersides and everything about this plant, I love it. It's just loving life right now, and that makes me really happy. This Maranta is another Maranta Cruciovana, except this is the regular Maranta and not the variegated. This was the variegated version. And this was actually a new pot that I made. And I actually have 3 of these guys. This is another one that is blooming. Look at those beautiful flower blooms. And this is my big mama one. This one is huge. This one actually was blooming as well. I love this Maranta. It is the easiest Maranta in my opinion. If you want to try a Maranta out, this one, the Rabbit Tracks, is definitely not as fussy as some of the other ones, but I love them. I just adore them. This one is my red Maranta. Again, a lot of Maranta blooms, which is really exciting. This one is a bit more, this one and my lemon lime is a bit more of a fussier Maranta. I did propagate these guys a ton, and so I'm just waiting for them to grow and fill out because I did have some straggly long vines. So it looks so full because I added so many props in. And I do have a couple more props in there that are probably ready to go. This Calathea is a Maykoyana, I believe. This one grew back from nothing. It got spider mites a couple winters ago, and I completely chopped it back, and it's growing back, which makes me so happy. I love that one. This one is my newest Calathea. It is a rattlesnake Calathea. I'm really excited to have one in my collection. It's pretty small, but I'm really excited to see it and have it and watch it grow. So I'm really excited that I found that one. This is my White Fusion, and it looks pretty pitiful. I got this plant to be really full and happy, and it kind of took a hit after I moved. And so I think I'm gonna put it back in my cabinet. It was living in pretty high humidity, and it's been living in this ambient humidity, and I don't think it's liking it. So that is on my to-do list. I'm going to be probably repotting him and putting him back in my cabinet because for some reason he just seems very unhappy, and I'm not sure why. So yeah, I got to figure out what's going on with that one. Next up, we are going to go over my moss pole corner, and you guys have seen this so much on my Instagram. I have a ton of moss poles. I actually, believe it or not, have quite a few plants that I'm going to be doing on moss poles still. A lot of these bare ones are new poles that I started, and obviously these ones are my oldest poles. And I just love moss poles, you guys. There's just something about them. I love watching plants grow up them and leaves maturing. So I'm eventually going to, I think, move this shelf unit and do a whole wall of moss poles. I think that's the plan. So definitely going to be rearranging. Up top, I have a lampshade from World Market, and I can link that below. It does have a grow light inside. And I felt like that grow light wasn't enough, so I did recently get one of these expensive mother lights. And so far I am liking the light. The plants seem to have moved their leaves towards it, which tells me that they really appreciate the light. So it is a pretty expensive light. So far I'm seeing good results with it. I've only had it for a couple weeks, so we'll see how it goes, but I definitely think they do appreciate the more light other than just the overhead light. That stand is from TJ Maxx. And my cats, I have these white shelves the poles are on are actually from, these two are from Amazon, and I think that one is from Target. And I keep the bottom rows clear because the cats like to come in here and sleep in these baskets. So I probably could put some pet-friendly ones down there, but I just haven't bothered with it yet. This has props that have been in here for probably 6 months, you guys. I'm not joking. I have been so lazy. A lot of these plants I'm going to do on a pole, so I'm just waiting to rearrange this room so I can have more pole room. I'm going to start over here. This one is from these are all cuttings off of my plants. This one is my neon pothos. I took cuttings off of my plant to do on a pole. And it is growing some, so I'm really excited to continue watching that one grow. My Cebu Blue, I started on a pole not too long ago. Usually new poles, once they take a bit to establish themselves in the pot, then they will start pushing out new growth and focusing on new leaves. So usually when I start a pole, if it's from cuttings, it does take them a little bit of time to kind of acclimate, get their roots, get kind of situated in the pot before they start growing. And this one here is my Monstera siltepecana. I actually chopped my entire plant up, and this is what's left besides the little pots I made for my experiment. And it's finally starting to push out its aerials into the moss a little bit, so I should start getting some larger leaf growth soon. This one is my absolute pride and joy, you guys, my Micans pole. Let me step back so you can see all of its glory. Look at how big these leaves have gotten. It's hard to appreciate how big these leaves are. I measured this leaf here, it's 5.5 inches, which it looks like a Milano Chrysum, which is crazy. And I started to trail it back down. I broke my vine over here because I accidentally bent it, but I'm trying to see if I can bend it back down because I can't extend this pole anymore because it's too wobbly, and this mesh is plastic. My new poles are all metal, but since these ones here are plastic, I can't extend them anymore. So I am going to be chopping these two once they reach the top. So my Monstera adansonii, I'm actually going to be chopping really soon. And I'm going to add on top so I can hopefully get some bigger leaf growth. This plant has tons of aerial roots in the moss already. It's going to be kind of hard to see. You can see all those aerials. So hopefully I should have enough root system to support a chop. I have not chopped a moss pole yet. It's going to be my first go at it. And I'm really excited. I hopefully can get some larger leaves on this one. This one is another Marble Queen pothos. The new leaves are sizing up. I do have 3 vines. This one here really took off fast. And I have more of a Snow Queen that's growing up on this side. And I do have one more in the middle that's a bit of a slower grower. So it is interesting because I did pot these all at the same time. It's interesting how one vine really took off, but I can't wait to get larger leaves. This is one of my oldest moss poles. This is just my regular heartleaf philodendron. The new leaves are getting quite big. I actually did not put this plant on the pole right, so you can see all this growth is very small. But yeah, once he reaches the top, I'm just going to continue trailing him back down because I'm not going to extend this one anymore. This is my Rhaphidophora hayi. I got this plant originally from Lowe's, and it's reached the top, so I think I'm going to bend it back down the pole. I don't really want to extend this guy anymore just because he's already so wobbly, so I don't know. I don't know what my plan is with him yet. These moss poles here are all pretty new. I made these recently except for my Syngonium albo. That one I accidentally snapped and I had to regrow up a pole, so he is working on growing up again. And I'll run through these ones very quickly. This is my Philodendron glorious that I chopped to put on a pole, as well as my Splendid. This is the newest leaf it gave me. I cannot wait to get large leaves on those. This is my Epipremnum pinnatum albo. I just started on a pole. That is my Philodendron Camposport tawanum. And I actually bought a variegated micans from Botanica's. And so it is working on some new growth, which is exciting. I honestly, if I can get huge variegated mican leaves, I would literally scream because I just think that is an absolute dream. So hopefully this guy can stay variegated and doesn't revert and I can get some beautiful growth. This is my Justiana pothos. I took cuttings off of my plant and I will show you the full plant, but I'm really excited to do that one on a pole. This one is my Amidria medium silver, and I decided to do this one on a pole, so I'm excited to see what the growth looks like on this one. And this stick down here is my Philodendron verrucosum. It decided to drop all of its leaves again. This is my third time trying to grow this plant, so we'll see. I don't have high hopes for it, but as soon as I put it on the pole, it killed off the 2 leaves, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. My mouth is getting so sticky, you guys. I'm already like getting out of breath talking and reading off all of my plants. So I still have a lot more to go through. So bear with me if I'm starting to slur my words a bit. But next up, we are going to go over this plant shelf behind me, and then I'm going to run through my Ikea cabinet. And after that, I will take you through to some other areas of my home. So I really hope you're enjoying so far. If you've made it this far, thank you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of my collection. This shelf is actually another overstock find, and I don't think the white one is in stock anymore, but they do have, I think, a black and a brown one. So I can link this shelf for you down below if you are interested. And I did not realize this at the time. My husband put this shelf together for me. But so my problem with this shelf, even though I love it, my plants are outgrowing it very quickly. And these shelves are actually, I think, can come off because they unscrew here, and I believe that I can take these shelves apart and have like bigger sections. So I might be removing some of these shelves to make room for some taller plants, because right now I put some taller plants up top and they're kind of squished and I feel like I'm not utilizing the space very well. So I don't know. And I don't really like it so squished in this corner here either. It's a pretty large shelf and I want to eventually bring my moss poles over this way. So I don't know, I might be moving that guy to this other side of the room. We'll see, I haven't decided. But up top, I do have a grow light and I can link that one down below as well. It was very easy to install and put together. And the cabinet lighting itself, if you notice the lights, these are Barrina lights. And they're the same kind of lights that are under my other cabinet. And these are an 8-pack and they all attach into one another. All of my outlets are on timers. So this one here is actually a one that links through Bluetooth and I can control it from my phone. And I do have another timer system in this cable box here. So all of my grow lights are actually set up on a timer that I don't have to turn any of them off and on. And I can control how long I want them to stay on for, how long they want to run. So it's really nice having everything on a timer, and I can link the ones that I use down below. This might be a little bright under this grow light, so I apologize if it seems pretty bright, but that is my Philodendron Birkin. This one here is my zebra plant, and it's grown quite a bit since I've had it. It is a very thirsty plant, very, very dramatic when it gets thirsty. This one, let me see if I can bring this down. This is my Begonia maculata. And I recently put it on this like stick trellis, and I think I kind of like how it's growing now. And it was getting very leggy and toppling over the bamboo skewer that I had for it. So I'm really excited to see this one grow. This one here is actually my silver sword philodendron, and I put another one of these stakes on this one as well. Yeah, it lost a few bottom leaves after the move, but it seems to have settled down, and I actually have new growth that I need to stake against the pole, but I'm excited to see this one grow. This is my beautiful Alocasia caprea that lost pretty much all of its leaves except one after moving. I had it in my cabinet and it didn't like it, and it just put out this gorgeous leaf. Look at this thing. It is the most beautiful leaf I think I've ever seen. It is just so gorgeous. This plant is so cool and unique. I love this Alocasia. I'm really excited to see it hopefully grow back for me. That one is the rest of my Epipremnum pinnatum albo that I put on a moss pole. So that is the main mother plant that I chopped, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that one. Okay, I tried to adjust the brightness a bit just for this portion. So this is my variegated Hindu rope, and it is a very slow grower. It's probably given me this much growth since being under these cabinet lights, which is really exciting. This is my Hoya Australis Lisa. I love the new leaves. They come in such a beautiful pink color. Love this plant. This is a baby Florida Ghost I grew from a node, so it's just kind of hanging there. And this is my Rhaphidophora decursiva. I recently chopped this plant back to regrow. It gave me a really long runner, and it actually encouraged a new node to start growing. So I'm going to get this guy up on a pole or some kind of support sooner than later so I don't get one of those crazy long runners again. This shelf here, I have my beautiful Alocasia Silver Dragons. This one is working on another leaf, which is so crazy to me. It just unfurled this one. And this one is my newest one from Costa Farms. That is a new leaf it just gave me, which is really exciting. I love alocasias, you guys. And this one is my Black Velvet. This is the newest leaf it gave me, and it just killed off its oldest leaf as it was unfurling this one. So hopefully I can get some more leaves on these guys. I do have some corms propagating, and this one here has been in my collection for a really long time. It currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves and a new one on the way, and I just put a baby one in there too. So I'm really excited to see those guys get big for me. On this bottom shelf, I have a global green pothos. I took cuttings off of this one to do on a moss pole, so I have not done that one yet. This one up front is my variegated heart leaf. I love this plant so much. I grew this guy from a single leaf, and I think the variegation on this plant is just stunning. That one is my Carry Eye Splash. It's finally growing for me, which is really exciting. I have not had new growth on this plant yet. This was a cutting I rooted, so I'm really excited to see that I have new growth. In this little humidity kind of greenhouse thing, I have some painted lady nodes. I chopped my big plant back before I moved because it got thrips and I didn't want to chance it. So I have some top cuts that are rooting in water, and then these are the little nodes that are growing. This middle section here, this is my Alocasia Regal Shield. It's finally maintaining more leaves, which I'm really excited about. This one is a corm that I added in, and it just gave me this new leaf off the corm. And this is the newest leaf it just gave me off the main plant. So I'm really excited. This is a beautiful Alocasia. This next one here in the back is my Pink Princess Philodendron. Let me see if I can turn it so you can see all that pink on this plant. This one has beautiful genetics. I'm so lucky to have a pink princess that has so much pink. I love this plant so much. It's a bit of a finicky plant, I will say. I recently chopped my other one back because it gave me all pink leaves. So I'm excited to see this one grow for me. Hopefully I can get some big leaves. This one here is my Philodendron Florida Beauty. Look at this beautiful variegated leaf. And unfortunately, it has reverted. All the new growth on this plant is all green. I propagated this guy from a single leaf, and all the new growth is completely green. So I'm currently air layering it, and I'm going to be chopping this plant back to hopefully promote variegation because I want some variegated leaves on this one, and I'm really sad it reverted on me. It's still beautiful. I love the green, but I definitely want to try and get some variegation. This row here, this is my Philodendron El Choco Red. Look at that leaf. It is stunning. And I do have new growth on the way, which is exciting. Next to him is my Philodendron Mamie. It had some kind of weird spotting. You can see it on this leaf too. So it lost a lot of the older leaves, and this is the newest one it put out, which seems to be okay. And it has a new growth. So I put it in one of these long pots to hopefully encourage it to crawl, since it is a crawler. But I'm really sad that it lost so many leaves because I did propagate this guy from a cutting. So I don't know what was going on with the plant. I did treat the soil, so I'm hoping whatever was going on with it is gone and I can continue getting good growth from this one. This shelf is my Philodendron Burl Marks. This is my variegated version. I have so many variegated leaves on this one. And I have some that are all yellow actually too. This plant does easily revert to all green, so something to keep in mind if you're wanting one. Be prepared that it can easily revert on you. I'm lucky this one has a lot of variegation, but some of the newer leaves are turning green. So you can chop back to try and promote variegation again, but I do love this plant. That sad looking thing back there is my Florida Ghost I chopped. It wasn't happy being in the cabinet So I chopped it and I'm going to wait for it to regrow. This is a Hoya Archboldiana. It hasn't grown for me yet since I bought it, so I'm patiently waiting for some growth on this one. I don't know, I thought the leaf shape was pretty cool. It just hasn't done anything for me. These Hoyas down here, I'm probably going to be moving because I don't have a grow light under this section, and I think they would rather have, I just moved them here, and I don't know why, because it's not really getting enough light, so I'll probably move them back. I think I just moved them for the purpose of this video, so my other shelves weren't too crowded. But that is my Hoya Abuvada there. It just gave me this new leaf, which is really exciting. This one, I believe someone told me it was maybe a Lacunosa. I asked them in my Hoya video because I wasn't sure the type of this one, but they said it was a Lacunosa, but it's finally growing for me. It took a while to grow, but since being here, it's probably given me like that much growth, and same with this side. And that one is my Hoya Curtisii, I believe. It was unhappy for a while, but I have this strand, which is all new, which is exciting on it. So I'm happy that it's growing because it seemed to not do anything for the longest time. I have one more row of plants on this side. So up top in the back, this is a Scindapsus. This is actually an Argyrius, and I have it on this trellis here. And it's grown quite a bit since I put it on this trellis. This one really isn't a fussy Scindapsus. Out of all the Scindapsus I have, that's probably my fastest growing one. Compared to this one here, this is my Silver Lady, and it's grown 3 leaves probably in like a year and a half. It is so slow. It's actually working on unfurling this one, which is beautiful, but such a slow grower. This other trellis I have is my Monstera Peru. It is growing super tall. I'm not really sure what to do with this guy. I have him trailing back down, but it's losing some of the larger leaves just because I feel like it's not really being supported that well, but I do think the trellis is cool with it. So we'll see. I'm not really sure what my plan is with this one. Back behind my Monstera Peru is my Philodendron Brantianum. I recently did this one on this core pole not too long ago before I moved, so it really hasn't started growing yet. This plant is known to give me small, wonky leaves, and it looks like it might be trying to do the same thing. So we'll see. Not a favorite plant of mine. And let me move this one down so you can see it a bit. This is actually my Philodendron Mayoi. I don't know if you can see those beautiful leaves on this plant. I don't know, I just think it's so cool, and I put him on this green stake as well. And I can't wait for this one to get more mature. I just think the leaf shape on this is so cool. So Philodendron Mayoi. This next shelf, I have a Baltic Blue Epipremnum, and I'm not sure what to do with this plant. It's growing a bit crazy. I haven't repotted it yet. It really needs a repot, and I don't know. I took cuttings to do on a pole, but I haven't done it yet. They're still in that box down there. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. This is another Scindapsus. This is a Satin Jade, and this is a new leaf it just gave me. It is so beautiful, and it looks like it has a couple more leaves on the way too, which is really exciting. This guy did lose several leaves after moving, so he had a bit of a shock. This is one of the peperomias that recently started doing a lot better for me. I completely chopped this plant back because it gave me a lot of like weird cup leaves. So the new growth actually seems to be a lot happier, which is exciting. I don't really know what I've done differently besides put him under some better light. So I think he does like this spot here. This is another Hoya that I need to repot and get staked on a trellis. This is the newest leaf it just gave me. It's really beautiful. This is a Macrophylla. And he's been in this small pot for a really long time. A lot of my plants I grew from small plants, you guys, so it makes me so happy seeing such growth on these guys. These two shelves here contain a lot of my Syngoniums. These are all Syngoniums on this shelf, so I will run through these all with you. That one back there is actually a Syngonium Strawberry Ice. Look at that variegation on some of those newer leaves. This is so beautiful. I was hoping I would get more variegation because that was a pretty expensive Syngonium, but I'm really excited to see those bottom leaves at least. This one is a Syngonium Aria. It has the yellow variegation. Look how beautiful. And I do have new growth on this one, which is really exciting, but that yellow variegation is just stunning. I have a Three Kings Syngonium there in the back. This one is a pink flecked Syngonium, and look at that leaf. It is beautiful. I am going to be propagating a lot of these Syngoniums and chopping them back because I want to fill the pots out eventually. And I did do that with one of my Syngoniums, and I'll show you. But this one is another Syngonium albo in my collection. This one has a ton of white, which is really exciting. I love the variegation on this plant. It is beautiful. And then down here, I have a frosted heart Syngonium there that is hitting the ceiling. So I need to move him and figure out what to do with that plant. That one is my pink splash. Again, another Syngonium I need to like prop and cut back and add back into the pot because it's growing a bit wild back there. This is my Syngonium Baltic. This is one I recently propagated a lot. You can see all those stems in there, and I have so much new growth on this one now. I absolutely adore this Syngonium. The Baltic is so beautiful. Like, these leaves are just stunning on this plant. Highly recommend this Syngonium. And this one is my Mojito. I recently chopped this one to propagate to add back into the pot because it was just one vine and I really want to fill this guy out. So yeah, this one has beautiful mottled variegation. Next up is my Ikea cabinet. I absolutely love my cabinet. I'm going to link my Ikea series up above if you're interested in how I accessorized it, how I built it. I recently did an Ikea cabinet tour, so I'm going to run through these plants in here very quickly because I know this video is already getting long and I don't want it to be super long. So if you do want a more closer look at what I have going on, check out my Ikea series and you'll have like a closer look at the plants in here as well. But on the outside of my cabinet, so up top I have this beautiful artwork I got from Kirkland's. It was in store. I think I can find it and link it below for you if you are interested. And that is my lemon lime philodendron. This one used to be so long, you guys. This one struggled the most since moving, and it is starting to fill out again nicely because I propagated a ton and I'm trying to fill it out to grow it back really long again. I'm really sad that it took such a hit since moving. It was my favorite Maranta and I'm really sad to see it so short now, but it's gonna grow back, it'll be okay. This one is my Gentiana pothos. This is the one I did on a moss pole. And these leaves, you guys, are absolutely stunning. The variegation on a Gentiana is so beautiful. I don't know if you can see that variegation. This artwork here, you guys know on Instagram. So this is my original Monstera albo leaf that I propagated and rooted, and the original leaf did its job. You know, it finally died and I could not throw it away and get rid of it, so I framed it. So if you want to see that process, it's over on my Instagram. So I will say with my cabinet, look at this new forgetty eye leaf, you guys. Oh my goodness, it is so gorgeous. I will say my most loved plant in here is definitely my anthuriums. They are the happiest they've ever been in their entire lives. Most of my anthuriums are up top, and yeah, I have various like propagations and small plants that really haven't grown a lot. So I'll run through these here really quick. I have some propagations up top. A lot of these are some corms and some other like various plants. So for my anthuriums, this one is my crystallinum. It gave me this leaf and this leaf recently. Love this one. This one is my crystallinum and magnificum hybrid. It's working on a new leaf, which is crazy because it just gave me these two big leaves here already, which is just mind-blowing to me. This one is my clarinervium, and it surprised me with a new leaf here in the back because I did not know it was putting out this big leaf, and it's crazy. Look how much bigger it is, and yeah, they're just thriving in the cabinet. This one is my forgetty eye. This is the original leaf. It gave me this first one being in the cabinet here, and then this is the most recent one. It's still growing and it's even bigger, which is crazy. My anthuriums just love this cabinet. That anthurium I'm not really in love with, this anthurium fingers. I don't know, the leaf shape is kind of cool, but usually they look kind of weird. So it's an anthurium I'm not really loving at the moment, but I don't know, I've had it for a while and it just, you know, doesn't look the best. This is my Workstation. It put out these two leaves being in the cabinet already, and I do see new growth already, which is very exciting. So I cannot wait for big leaves on that one. I have a Magnificum anthurium here as well. That's a new leaf it gave me. And I do have a Hoya. This is a Hoya Chelsea. This is all new growth here since being in the cabinet. Hoyas are loving the cabinet. I have a Hilo Beauty Caladium here. The color on this one is beautiful. It stays small and it only keeps 3 leaves at a time, so I might repot it. I'm not sure what my plan is with that plant. And this one I recently talked about on my Instagram. This is my Calathea ornata. Do you guys see all this new growth? This plant is so happy now. It struggled since moving and I repotted it and removed a death plug and it's been so happy now. I just adore this plant so much now. Oh, and I forgot, I do have a Syngonium woodlandii back there as well. I chopped that guy and I have cuttings propagating, so I'm going to add them back into the pot. This shelf here, I have a Monstera Stanleyana. I chopped this guy recently and look at all those nodes that activated. So I have cuttings propagating and I'm going to put those back into the pot. I have a Philodendron tenue right here. It really hasn't done much since I've had it. I've cut it back because the growth came out weird. This is my Jose Bueno here. It is growing so much. This was a single leaf propagation and I'm probably going to be repotting this one and taking it out of the cabinet soon because it is getting kind of big for the space. This is a white night cutting that hasn't done anything for me at all, so I think I might investigate what's going on with that one. This is an angel wing begonia. It grew really tall and I chopped it back, so I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. I probably need to take it out of the cabinet at some point. That is my Jew orchid. It's a Macodes Petolia and I recently propagated it right here and I'm going to add those back into the pot to fill it out all together. And they are rooting pretty slow in water, but I do have some water roots, which is exciting. So once those grow a bit more, I'm going to be adding those in together. I have a Hoya Wietii here and so much new growth since being in the cabinet. Hoyas are just loving it. I want to do more. That is a Burl Marks Fantasy. That is the original leaf and it is working on new growth. I cut this plant back so many times because I wasn't happy with the new growth. So yeah, a plant I don't really show that often. And I have 3 alocasias here up front that are loving the cabinet. This is my Alocasia Maharani. It's put out like 4 new leaves since being in the cabinet and here's another new one. It is just loving the cabinet. It just is so happy being in here. This is my Alocasia Polly. These 2 leaves since being in the cabinet are new and I added in a corm right here. And this is my regular dragon scale. It is working on a new leaf, which is exciting, but this guy has been happy in here as well. And then down on the bottom, I'm just going to briefly run through these. This is a chocolate anthurium. It's getting too tall for this shelf, so I'm going to have to move it back up top again. But this is the one that gets the brown chocolate flowers, like the red anthuriums you see. Let's see, this is my Monstera Peru variegated. I recently chopped this guy back as well, and I have some new growth coming back. I have some Alocasia corms, some various propagations there. That is a pink princess node that hasn't grown yet. This is my strawberry shake philodendron, and this is the original leaf. I'm not sure why this new one came out all weird looking. I don't know. I'm not sure what was going on with that, but I'm probably going to repot this one and move this out of the cabinet as well. Another plant that's not doing well is my Philodendron gloriosum back there. I talked about this one recently too. I don't think it likes the cabinet. I don't know, the new growth is coming out weird. I've struggled with this plant for so long. And yeah, I might just move him out of the cabinet. I have some pink princess nodes back there propagating. And this one is my variegated Monstera adansonii. This plant I just love. It's giving me a lot of white growth, which is a little scary because a lot of the white growth that I got on this plant died. So I'm hoping it gives me more green and not all white again because I want this plant to grow, and if it gives me all white leaves, it's not going to be able to photosynthesize. So I'm hoping I get more green. So that is it for the room portion of this video. Now I'm going to take you through a few other areas of my home and we'll get to look at some other plants I have in some other areas, and I'm going to take you outside as well. So yeah, let's head on out. So over here at my entryway, I do have a little bit of a window. This is a south window light coming in, and I only have one plant here. This is a money tree, and I've had this plant for a while and it does like being over here. It loves this light it's getting. All these like leaves up top are new growth, which is really exciting. It did come down with spider mites last year, and it probably lost so many leaves from just being stressed with spider mites, and I had to move it into low light, and it just got unhappy for a while. So it's really starting to grow and take off again, which makes me really happy. So I really do enjoy this plant, and I think it's a beautiful plant. Over in this area is my little dining area, and I do have a few plants in this area. Over here is my Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. This girl is so big and beautiful. This is my largest Hoya in my collection, and this is East Window Light, and this Hoya loves East Window Light. I have so much new growth up top, which is really exciting. This is actually going to be my 3rd year with this Hoya, so I'm really hoping this is the year I actually get blooms on this one. I'm crossing my fingers, we'll see, but I just adore this Hoya so much. This big calathea over here is a Calathea exotica, and this plant was a big box store find, and it has been so happy since being here in my home. It loves the light, it just loves everything about this space. It is such a beautiful plant. It is so big, you guys. And you know how much I love these plants, and it makes me really happy to have such a big, beautiful calathea in my collection. So it's been really happy so far, and it makes me happy that it's happy, and I just love it. This beautiful, big, trailing Philodendron micans is one of my favorites, and it trails and goes all the way down. This plant was a big box store find here. It's probably grown like this much since I've had it, like all the way down, which is crazy. It's already climbing the walls. It's climbed the walls like 3 or 4 times, and I take it off to water it sometimes because I like taking my plants to the sink to water them. And so I keep unhooking it from the wall, but I don't know. I'm gonna leave this one trailing. I'm gonna see how crazy it can get. It has so many long aerial roots. It is just wild. But I love it. I just love the new growth, and it's so happy, and I just love how big and trailing it is. This one here is another Epipremna Marble Queen. This one has grown quite a bit since having it, and I want this one to get really long and trail. So this one loves being here in this dining area. It gets a lot of light from this east window coming in, and it seems really happy. So yeah, I love this plant. I highly recommend it. And this is just some various propagations I did. This is a Monstera deliciosa and some string of pearls. I found this cool jar, and I really wanted to do some kind of plant in here to propagate, so that's what I decided to go with. This is our master bedroom, and I have a couple plants in here. This is actually a huge bay window, and this is north light, so the light coming in does appear like a lot, but it's not as strong of light for plants. So, and I didn't want to overcrowd our bedroom with plants, so this is the only thing that I have in here. It was really only going to be this plant, and then I didn't have any room for these, so I snuck those in here. But this is a big golden pothos slash Gentiana pothos. It's all like reverted pretty much because it's lived in low life its whole life. So all these strands are pretty much green, and I can't wait for it to get full and get like really bushy and trailing really long. So I don't know, it loves the light here. It is like low to medium light, I would say, but it is really happy, so yeah. And this planter here, this was a TJ Maxx find as well. And I have 2 peperomias on the bottom, and then I have another Philodendron micans. This micans I completely chopped back to do those experiments with. And so I took a bunch of cuttings, so it's regrowing. This is a peperomia obtusifolia variegata. And this is also a variegated peperomia. This one is a capronata, I believe. And I think the leaves are so cool. Again, I'm not great with peperomias, but these 2 have seemed to do okay in my care. And they seem happy in this spot, so I'm leaving them. But yeah, those are those. In our master bathroom here, we have this huge west window, and there's a lot of light coming in. This window is kind of like stained, glassed over. You can't really see it, so it is kind of filtered light. But I have a golden pothos here, and it loves the light. I try to rotate it because it definitely is growing towards the light. But again, this plant needs to be repotted, and I always forget to water it. And it's really root bound, so it really does need an upsize. So eventually that is on my to-do list as well. But again, another pothos that is easy and beautiful, and I can't wait for this one to get long and trail as well. This is our guest bedroom. I completely forgot to film these earlier, so I'm going to show you the few plants I have in here. I just have a couple. This is actually my Pearls and Jade pothos. I've had this plant for a while. I actually had an Enjoy and I got rid of it because I just think they look so similar. So I did take cuttings of this one to put on a pole as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this one, we'll see, but that's just the trailing pot. And up ahead, I do have my Manjula pothos here. And I have cuttings of this one in my prop box as well. And these are my Painted Lady cuttings that I took off of my other plant. I showed you the nodes earlier. So these are the cuttings, and they are rooting, so some of the original leaves are a bit yellowing on that, which is totally normal. So yeah, these are the few plants I just have in here. These shelves are old. I don't know where I got them from. My guess is probably Target, or I found them at TJ Maxx, somewhere like that, but I don't have a link for those, unfortunately. Next up, I'm going to take you to the outside portion. This will be the last portion of the video. And this back lanai, I just love this space out here. And a lot of these plants are just very happy being out here. And I'll take you to the front porch area as well. This back lanai is all north facing, and it does get some east and west light. So any really plants out here would do really good. And my front porch is all south facing, so a lot of direct, harsh sun. So I have to be careful with some plants I put out there. And I'm probably going to add more plants. I think I want to do a plant shelf out here and give some plants some of this wonderful summer weather here that are in my plant room. So we'll see. I haven't really decided what to do with everything, but I do know I want to try and put more plants out here for the summer at least. So this is our huge lanai. This is also the catio. The cats just come out here to hang out. And there's one sleeping in that cat bed over there. I'm not sure where the other ones are. They're usually out here too. But over here, so let me turn down this brightness a little bit there. So over here, I have one of my Monstera deliciosa plants. I propagated this guy too as well from like 3 cuttings, I believe. And you guys, I'm not joking when I tell you it's put out 3 leaves since being outside. And look at the size difference. That's the newest leaf it gave me compared to the older ones. It got a huge burst in growth being outside. This is another new leaf it gave me. Just the size difference is just crazy. So this Monstera is loving it out here. I have a banana tree plant. That's the newest leaf that just unfurled. I think this is a Musa banana tree. This is a recent purchase, and I think it's given me these 3 leaves since I've had it. I got this one locally not too long ago, and I really like it. It seems to be happy in this spot. I did repot it because it was drying out really, really fast. So we'll see how it goes. I've never owned one before, but so far I love it. That is my staghorn fern that I did in a recent YouTube video as well on here. I did give it some water just recently yesterday, and so far it's doing good. So I'm excited to see it grow and how it does for me. It is a baby staghorn fern, and it doesn't have any of those sterile fronds yet, so we'll see how it goes, but so far so good. Oh, hi cutie, where'd you come from? Hi. Hi. Hi, cuties. Hi, are you enjoying the outsides? Huh? Now I have to pet the other one. You know, I can't not pet them all. Hi. Hi, cuties. Hi, cuties. Yeah, you're so cute. Okay, back to the plants. You're so cute. Oh my goodness. And this alocasia out here is a recent purchase as well. This is the Alocasia California, I believe, and it came down with spider mites, so it's in time out. I did treat it, and yeah, I kind of left it out here by itself. So far so good, and it's kind of in the shade, so it doesn't get any direct sun, but yeah, I don't know, it kind of went on my bad list after it came down with spider mites. This is going to be a little backlit, but this is my big, beautiful bird of paradise. I just love this plant so much, you guys. I have gotten 3 big, beautiful new leaves since owning this plant, and it has new growth already, several new leaves, and I just love it. It is so big, so beautiful. I have never owned a bird of paradise before, and I just love having one. It is so happy out here. These are some caladiums. This one here is a Candyland caladium, and these leaves, you guys, are just stunning. on this caladium. And it does have some other ones in here, which I'm not sure what those are. This caladium here is called a Pink Beauty caladium, and the leaves are very beautiful. And this one here is called a Fiesta. It has that light green and a really bright pink center. Very beautiful caladiums. And then out here on the back side of the lanai, I have more caladiums. This one is a White Christmas. That's the most recent purchase. And so that one there is my Dracaena, and it's been really happy being outside so far. And then that one is my Ponytail Palm, and it loves it out here as well. All right, and this is my front porch area. Sorry if there's some loud construction nearby, if you hear that. This is my other Monstera Deliciosa. This is my juvenile one. This is south facing, so it does get a lot of sun, so it dries out faster. It does get mostly shade, but it does get some sun. This is my big palm tree that I had inside at my old place. So far, it's loving it outside. I have lots of new growth coming in on that one. This is my oldest plant. This is one of my snake plants, and it's never been outside, you guys. It's been in low light its entire life, and it never really grew that well. And since being outside for the first time, I have so much new growth on this plant, and it is very happy. I have not seen that color in such a long time, so very, very happy being outside. This is my other snake plant. This is my Sarai, I believe. And again, I had this one outside last summer. It did great, but it got very unhappy during winter. But I do have lots of new growth since moving it outside, so it's very happy now. This color on the snake plant is gorgeous. And my last plants that I have out here are these cacti arrangements. I have 3 new cactus I got recently. That one there blooms all the time. And this is an arrangement I made last year, and since it's being outside already, I have tons of new growth, and I have several that are blooming, that are getting ready to bloom, which is really exciting. So it loves this spot. This spot is south facing, so it gets a ton of direct sun all day, and the cacti love it. So I'm definitely going to get more to put out here. So that is it, you guys. That is my entire houseplant collection. Thank you so, so much for watching this all the way through. I really hope you enjoyed my plant collection and my current setup. I can't wait to see all the changes I'm going to be doing to this space, and I can't wait to watch my plants grow. I'm really excited to just even see what my plants are going to look like a couple of months even from now. Also, I just wanted to remind you to check the description below for any links that you are interested in. I tried to find a link as much as I possibly could for this video for you guys. And if you have any questions at all, anything, just let me know. Leave a comment below. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will talk to you all very soon.